Pop Shop America family, my name is Brittany and I'm here to show you how to make this textured flower painting. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe and ring that notification bell. So let's begin with the supplies that you would need to make your textured flower kit. This is going to be a kit that is from Pop Shop America. If you would like to buy your kit already pre-assembled, you can definitely do that. And I'm gonna go over what will be in that kit if you were to buy it, but you can get these on your own terms as well. You would need palette knives. I would recommend getting a palette knife set. You would also need some drywall mud. You have 2 within this kit. Also some 8x8 wood panels. Also grab 2 in case you would want to make more than one flower painting. Also gesso. We're going to use this to prime your wood panel before you begin painting. And 6 colors. The colors you will need today will be yellow, red, rose, white, and green. A sponge and popsicle sticks to stir. One item that you would like to add to your supply list would be paper towels. I would just highly recommend having 2 on hand because we will be using this to remove the paint from our palette knives and even our sponge. Let's begin by grabbing your 8x8 wood panel and grabbing your gesso. So with gesso, this will be your primer that you would want to have on your wood surface before you begin painting. For the gessoing process, you would want to coat the panel about 2 to 3 times. You just want to make sure you get like a good even coat on the wood panel itself. And don't forget to actually get the sides as well. Between each layer, make sure you allow each one to dry before you apply the next one. I have also a pre-prepared prime canvas that I will be swapping out, so you do not have to wait for me to allow this to dry. Now that you have your canvas already prepared and ready to go, you can close up your gesso and we will begin with making our mixture components for our colors. Grab the palette knives that you have within your set or the ones that you have purchased, and also grab your drywall mud. Don't forget you can do this mixture using the palette knife, or you can also use the sticks that were provided for you. I would recommend using about 1 scoop for the drywall compound for starting, and then about 2 scoops of the color that you will be using. Using your paper towel, remove any excess paint that you have on your palette knife. Also something to keep in mind, if you do get some of the color within the joint compound, you can just scrape that off and put it to the side. You might need to use it later on anyway, but that way you can remove any unwanted colors within your components. Now that you have your colors mixed, we're going to begin painting our flower. The flower that we're painting today is a gladiola. You can use your own reference photo, or you can just use my painting at the end. So begin with green. I'm going to mix some of my green with a little bit of the yellow to have more of a lemon green or yellow green. Also grab a little bit of the white and mix that within your mixture as well too. Keep in mind it does not have to be perfect color mixtures. You can just go with the flow and make your own flower. The palette knife that I'm using is the smallest one that will be in your kit if you have the kit. It is size 1. Now that you have your color mixed, move some of it to one of the sides. I'm not even going to wipe off some of the color. Just scrape about 3 times or 4, and then begin to add the color onto your board. We're going to be making our petals, and just move around, push down firmly, and just move down. Something you can do as well too, if you don't prefer to have this size, you can switch to any of the other sizes within the kit. This is another size that I like to use with mixing in the arrangement of making the leaves. Now that we've used all of the color that we have, that we've pre-mixed, mix a little bit more up. And also just vary some of the colors and tones of the green as well too. You can have a little bit more white, a little less white, whatever you would prefer. So move your compound mixture over to the side, like I am doing, just to one side. Then use your palette knife and scrape about 3 times to have it on the back of your palette knife. What I also like to do is sometimes vary the angle in which I am applying this. So make your way across the board, little by little. So within your mixture, light variances is okay, because if you were to actually observe a flower or even a leaf, sometimes you're gonna have like some color differences, but that also just adds to the uniqueness of your artwork as well too. So now that we have some of this mixture using the number 1, I am going to switch to the number 4, just to add some differences in the texture. I will have to also mix a little bit more of the colors. Like I mentioned before, if you do run out, it's okay to have to go back and mix some more color variations within the component. Just means that you will actually not waste any of your product. The technique you would want to use is to apply a little bit of pressure when you make contact with the board. Be intentional of where you are having your placement, just because you would want to make sure you get the actual shape of the flower. I mean, it's just not that serious ever. Now, my best work is created when I don't think. When I really want to do something, it's like, it's gonna be the best it ever is. It's because it's not fun, and I think that's what it is. When it's fun, you know, you don't have the worry of the world and if it will be okay. Switching again, for the palette knife, we're gonna use the bigger one just because, why not? The technique that we are using traditionally is called impasto, which is basically painting thicker or having more of a thicker painting when it comes to the application. My favorite thing about impasto painting is using a palette knife, of course, and also it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. If we were making a super realistic painting, of course we would have to worry about a lot of different factors. But since we're making more of an impasto painting, we don't have to worry about any of that. So with this technique as well too, you can use any sort of paint that you would prefer to use. You can use oil paint, acrylic paint, latex paint, whatever your preference. Something else you also do not have to worry about is sometimes the colors mixing when they're close together. I know as artists we want things to be 100% perfect, but life isn't perfect and neither is your artwork sometimes. In this stage that we're using right now, we want to focus on covering the canvas as much as we can with the texture that we have. We can go back over some of these areas that we did earlier and refine them. Because it's still not dry, so you can move it, like move some of the paint still, or refine or fill in. If you have a lot of paint already on your canvas that's still not dry, you can use your palette knife to move some of the paint around and reform some of the shapes. Your painting might take 24 hours or even longer to dry based upon the area that you're living in and the temperature that you have in that area. So I believe that is it for the painting. I am finally at a spot where I am satisfied. You, of course, can continue with yours if you would like to add more details. You are, of course, are welcome to do so. But that is it for my painting. Now we'll go ahead and clean up. You'll grab your palette knives, get some water, soap, and of course some more napkins. And we're gonna just let this sit for 24 hours.